everybody, it is MissyDoPop here, and welcome to another Fakemon making video. Today, I'll be making a Fakemon for my fan-made region based on Brazil. And I have big news, my friends. This video is actually a collaboration with the one and only JazzyMangoes. You see, Jazzy sent me a great Pokemon concept, which I will be telling you about in a second. And I will be creating a Fakemon based on the concept he sent. JazzyMangoes is actually making his own Fakemon region too, which is also based on Brazil. So I sent him a concept as well. He will be creating his own Fakemon based on the concept I sent and make a video about it. This video will be coming out July 18th, aka Sunday. So make sure you hop on over to his channel and subscribe. You can turn on the bell over there and be notified as soon as it comes out tomorrow. I'm excited to see what he does with the concept I sent him. Now, like I said earlier, Jazzy sent me a concept, and I'm super excited to give this a go. My idea that I would love to see you draw is the regional form for Oricorio. Oricorio is based on different dancers and the bird of the Galapagos Islands, who evolved over time based on the food of their island. In Pokemon, this is portrayed as Oricorio having different types because of the nectar they eat. So why don't you make an Oricorio who eats green or white nectar and is based on a Samba dancer, perfect for a Brazil region. I love this idea! When I had originally started this region a few years ago, before I started remaking it, or mentioning it at all on my channel, the regional bird had been based on a Samba dancer. I don't really like that design though. A Samba, like regional form for Oricorio, would be so much better than whatever that was. I was so excited to jump right into designing this Fakemon, but I knew I needed to start off with doing some research. I read up on Samba dancing, its relation with Brazil, the typical styles and outfits of Samba dancing, and I watched some Samba dancing. That was certainly an experience. So much, moving. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about what I learned about Samba dancing. If you don't want to learn about Samba dancing and you just want to see the design, here's a timestamp you can skip to. Though I do recommend watching this part so you have a bit of more of an understanding of Samba dancing, but that's completely up to you. Samba was created by the African people in Brazil around the 19th century from the music and dance culture they brought from Africa. Today, Samba dancing is something that easily comes to mind when you think of Brazil and its known celebrations like the Carnival. There are many different types of samba music, some of these types being
samba de gafieira, samba reggae,
and many more. This energetic and lively dance may be danced with or without a partner. Synchronized rhythms, bouncing actions, and rolling hip movements characterize the dance. When performing, at least performing in the Carnival, dancers typically wear very extravagant outfits covered in feathers. These outfits typically consist of bejeweled feathered headdresses, bejeweled tops and bottoms, and sometimes even bejeweled shoes. Whether you like watching more traditional samba dancing performed in the ballroom, or the extravagant and sometimes crazy carnival samba dancing, it is quite a fun dance to watch and learn about. And now that I've officially proven that I'm a nerd who loves learning new things, let's get on to making this Fakemon. I'm starting to get some hopefully pretty cool looking ideas. The first thing I needed to do was figure out what I wanted the pose and body shape of this Fakemon to be. Also, side note, yes, this is a new setup, different desk and such. Sorry if there's any weird lighting or anything. Anywho, I pulled up some images of Oricorio's forms and sketched out the bird shape. I roughly sketched in details I knew I wanted. These details included head feathers, fancy wings thrown out like this bird was mid-dance, and a fun and interesting leg pose. I really wanted to embrace the different moves you see in Samba dancing with this pose, and I wanted a fun and dynamic leg movement. I tried a few things and decided on something I liked. Now that I had a pose that I thought would look okay, I started again, bigger. I drew the beak and eyes, and then I wanted to add eyelash-like feathers to the eyes, because if you take a look at Oricorio's different forms, there's usually something going on with the eyes, whether it be like eyelids, eye feathers, that kind of thing, so I wanted to add that to my Oricorio form. But of course, I didn't get a good shot because my hand was covering it. Anyway, I moved back to my rough sketch, having an idea to change the pose, and I wanted to make sure that it would look okay. I positioned the wings in a different way. I thought it would just make this Fakemon look more fluid and in motion. I liked it, so I added the basic shape of where the wings would go to the bigger, more, final pose. I worked on the legs next, trying to make sure the legs matched in length. This camera angle has to change next time. My hand is in the way and the shadow just Anyway, while working on those legs, I had a very, very, very important question on my mind. I just couldn't continue until I figured this out. Like, this might change the world as we know it. Do birds have knees? And more importantly, do they have kneecaps? Well, according to some quickly skimmed over Google results, yes. Yes, they do. After satisfying my thirst for knowledge, I worked on those wings some more, trying to figure out the sectioned feathers approach I was taking to it. I knew I wanted to embrace the feathers that samba dancers typically wear on their outfits with this design. I messed around with it a little bit and ended up removing the sectioned off bits, completely. I did learn a new strategy for making wings with this. Next up was the tail. With the help of Google Images, I knew that the bottom pieces of samba outfits are typically very feathery and poofy and extravagant, or very, well, showy, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't sure which way to lean with this tail. I wanted to make it big and poofy, but also embrace the other style of samba outfit as well. I was having trouble, so I decided to come back to it after I worked on the head feathers. It's really a lot of back and forth with the tail and head feathers, as I was really struggling with both. I wanted the head feathers to really look like a headdress of feathers like they wear in the carnival parades. But I just couldn't get it to look right. I tried a few different things, but it just looked awkward. At this point, I decided it was time to take a break and come back later. I did do a little bit off camera though, where I erased the headdress and made some changes with the wings, and changes that I ended up really liking. It was time to work on the tail again. I decided to go for a more extravagant and poofy tail approach. I tried a few times just trying to get the shape right, but it just kept looking like another wing. Eventually I gave up and moved back to the headpiece. Again, it just wasn't looking right, so I pulled out the old trusty kneaded eraser and lightly erased the head section. Finally, I made a head feather dress thingy that I was pleased with. I drew back the eye and worked on these beautiful eyelashes. I then moved back to the tail. I made a tail pattern that was similar to the wing patterns and decided that I was actually okay with how this tail was looking. Then I pulled out the old markers and decided to do some coloring. I don't really do this often, like color my Fakemon I mean. I usually just color them in the final digital versions. I really wanted to give it a try though. I thought maybe it might look a little bit more color coordinated if I had more of a limited selection of colors. See, with your drawing program, you literally have availability to any color it can produce, and then with the markers though, you've got a very small selection. Since this is a grass type, I went for green and yellow like colors. The Oricorio forms typically focus on one color, a color that matches their typing and the nectar they drink. Since this is going to be a grass type Oricorio, and I've decided that it drinks a green colored nectar, it's going to be mainly a nice pastel green with some dark green, and yellow thrown in. Anyway, here's a time lapse of me coloring. If you don't want to watch that, feel free to skip to this time in the video to see the final results. This, my friends, is the final digital version of the Samba-style Oricorio form that is native to the Lezo region. I've got a Pokédex entry for this little dancer, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oricorio, the dancing Pokemon, Samba style. This form of Oricorio is only native to the Lezo region. This is because it drinks the green nectar that is only local to the region. In battle, this Pokemon kicks its legs and flaps its wings rhythmically to the beat of some sort of internal music. And I forgot to put this, but when this form of Oricorio really gets into its dancing, flower petals seem to suddenly appear, no matter the location or time of the year, and sway in the wind right along with Oricorio. Here I've got this stuff like size and abilities, typings and such, so if you want to pause the video and take a look at that, feel free. But I think it's time we wrap this up. So, what do you guys think of this new form of Oricorio I made? Feel free to let me know down below in the comment section. Do you have any other regional form ideas for my Fakemon region, or any ideas in general? Feel free to let me know, I'd love to hear them. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a good old thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'm trying to get 300 subscribers by the end of the summer, and thanks to every single one of you, I think it just might happen. Let's not forget that this video or Fakemon wouldn't have even come to existence without the help and idea of JazzyMangoes. So make sure you go check out his channel and his video that's coming out tomorrow, where I give him an idea to create. Oh, and real quick before I say goodbye, I've started doing live streams here on YouTube. I don't really have a schedule, they're kind of spontaneous, and it really depends on the strength of my Wi-Fi, but feel free to stop by anytime and say hi. I answer a lot of questions and like to interact with you guys during these live streams. Once again, a huge thank you to JazzyMangoes. This was so much fun. This was my first collab, and it was a ton of fun, and thank you so much. And thank you again to every single one of you. Now, I need to go pull some weeds from my Animal Crossing village, so I'll see you guys next time. This is MissyDoPop, signing off. There are many different types of samba music, some of these types being Samba Dancing, and I then moved on back, oh, that's not grammatically correct. And I even watched some Samba dancing. That was certainly an experience. I gotta